Hi, I'm broadcast coordinator for Judicial Watch, Matthew Miano, and with me is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. Can you give us an update on what's going on with the impeachment proceedings against President Trump?
Well, the secret hearings are continuing. The president's, some of his employees, White House staffers, are objecting and not participating in the proceedings. And now the Democrats are kind of back on their heels because of the secrecy, and they're beginning to release, selectively, of course, some of the transcripts of the witness testimonies. And it shows you that the impeachment's about a whole lot of nothing. A bunch of low-level bureaucrats or ambassadors complaining that they were pulled from Ukraine, or they don't like what the president was doing in terms of foreign policy, which is all well and good, but the president gets to set foreign policy.
So, Tom, there's an update with a story that we broke involving the State Department and a so-called enemies list involving journalists and Trump allies. Can you give our viewers an update on what's going on?
Well, we were first to report that there was what was believed to be illegal monitoring of the activities of people close to Trump, his lawyer, his Rudy Giuliani specifically, Donald Trump Jr., a bunch of journalists, including Fox News hosts such as Sean Hannity and Lou Dobbs and Sarah Carter and John Solomon, and journalists from the Daily Wire and Dan Bongino, who's online as well. All were being monitored at the request of Ambassador Yovanovitch, who was pulled back by President Trump and was interviewed by the Schiff investigation, the COUP investigation, as I call it. And Yovanovitch supposedly was the one ordering this to take place. And our reporting is that when they asked for help from the State Department in Washington, D.C., someone said, oh, you're not allowed to be monitoring American citizens like this, even if it is only social media postings. Well, she confirmed that there was an effort to monitor Americans. She said she didn't really know who specifically was being monitored, and she didn't think it was illegal, but that's not what our reporting shows. But it confirms the monitoring was taking place. So we're obviously conducting a Freedom of Information Act investigation, but it goes to show why transparency is on the side of the rule of law here, because thanks to some questioning on this that previously had been secret, we now know that there is a there in terms of this, what we believe to be an illegal monitoring campaign out of the embassy. And what were they worried about? Ukraine, George Soros, Rudy Giuliani, and of course, Joe Biden.
Speaking of embassies, we also got some interesting records concerning the Obama administration and the Russian embassy.
Oh, yeah.
Can you describe what we found?
Well, this is pretty big stuff. We have found documents showing that the Obama State Department, a key official there, Jonathan Weiner, who had been associated with Christopher Steele, really a buddy of his, helped him with the dossier and other things at the State Department. So Christopher Steele being the member of the Clinton Fusion GPS spy ring, as I call him. Jonathan Weiner, the Obama State Department official, was in communications with the political chief of the Russian embassy just a month before the inauguration. And what they were talking about, we don't know because it's classified, but we do know the documents are responsive to our request for information about Russiagate, about Christopher Steele. So, my gosh, you have information that the Obama State Department was colluding with the Russians on Russiagate smears of President Trump. And he wasn't even president yet.
And we would have heard about this collusion story on the news, right?
No, it's, surprise, surprise, the big media doesn't want to cover this, but it's further confirmation of improper collusion between the Obama administration and a foreign government to undermine the incoming president of the United States. So, of course, what is the Democratic machine doing? What is the coup cabal doing? They're targeting Trump for raising issues like this.
So, Tom, I'm sure many of our viewers want to know, what can they do to help?
Well, obviously they can support Judicial Watch, but they also should be talking to their members of Congress, their congressmen and their senators, and let them know what they think about the impeachment coup attack on President Trump and our Constitution. I have grave concerns about the future of our country if this baseless impeachment, this abusive impeachment, which is corruptly formed and which is being corruptly pursued, is allowed to come to fruition. And it ought to be stopped. And the only way it's going to be stopped is if the voters let their members of Congress know what they think about it. And I suspect more people than not don't want to see this abuse of power, don't want to see a president attacked for blowing the whistle on corruption in Washington, D.C., and dare I say it, blowing the whistle on corruption tied to Joe Biden and Ukraine. To me, it's just outrageous that he's being targeted and attacked and impeached because he's talking about the corruption of the other side, and the other side's trying to remove him from office from it. To me, it's a massive obstruction of justice. So, that's one man's view. And if Americans share those views, or maybe you don't share those views, either way, you got to let your members of Congress know what you think, because we can't trust Congress to do it on their own. The voters have to have a voice.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.